In the last video, we were able to take ourselves, 3 friends, and luggage to Kansas City for some barbecue. The trip was amazing. The food was awesome, and the same group wants to go back this coming weekend. However, the Cessna 172 is not available, so we'll have to take an Archer 3 instead. That means the questions for today will be, will we once again be wiping barbecue off our faces, or will one or more of my friends be wiping away tears because they were left behind? If we do need to leave someone behind, how will we decide who that is? And if we leave them behind, will they ever speak to the rest of us again? Will our friendship be ruined? Hold on. Deep breath. If we can take everyone, then we won't need to worry about the rest of our questions. So let's get started. Since this is a different aircraft, we'll need to spend some time studying the POH. As I was doing the POH review, I noticed a few differences. First, the weight limits are significantly different. The new maximum ramp weight is 2,558 pounds. The maximum takeoff and landing weights are both 2,550 pounds. Second, the empty weight of the aircraft is also greater than that of the Cessna. Third, if you look at the weight versus CG envelope chart for the Archer 3, you'll notice that we can't use the raw moment numbers to determine if we're within limits. In the last video, we were able to just use the moments. Somehow for this trip, we'll have to find the actual center of gravity in inches. Well, drat, how will we do that? Well, listen closely, Padawan. We'll need to use arithmetic and algebra. Wait, what? Arithmetic and algebra? Don't panic. Let's start by introducing the primary weight and balance formula, or weight times arm equals moment. To make it more useful, we'll need to define the components. We are all familiar with weight, so we won't spend much time on that. We've seen moment before, but we never really defined it. Moment is the measurement of the torque or tilting force that weight imposes on an airplane. As implied by the formula, that force is the product of weight and how far away that weight is from a specified point. We'll talk about how to figure out which point next. Arm is the new definition here, so let's explore it. The Pilot's Handbook of Aeronautical Knowledge, lovingly referred to as the PHAK, defines arm as the distance in inches from the reference datum to any component or part or object loaded on the aircraft. Wow, that isn't very helpful. Don't you hate it when they use a bunch of strange words to help define another word? Now we've got to know what a reference datum is. Well, the PHAK tells us that the reference datum is an arbitrary point established by aircraft designers that may vary in location between different aircraft. Arbitrary? Does that mean they can just make it up? Well, in doing a little research, I learned that the answer is yes. An aircraft manufacturer can place the reference datum anywhere they'd like. And aircraft manufacturers do place them in different locations. For example, Cessna uses the firewall for the Cessna 172. Piper uses 78.4 inches in front of the leading edge of the wing for the Cherokee-based aircraft. Cirrus uses 100 inches in front of the forward face of the firewall. See, the trick for manufacturers is to pick a location that isn't likely to change during the life of the aircraft. Therefore, the tip of a propeller spinner, the front edge of a seat, or the edge of the dash may not be good choices because changing to a new design of spinner, moving the seat, or changing the dash would cause the datum to change, which would then require changes in the weight and balance calculation. So, the manufacturers choose locations they believe will likely stay static for the life of that airframe family. Now we've looked at all the components, so let's sum up. Weight is weight. Arm is the distance in inches from a fixed point chosen by the manufacturer, and moment is the weight times the arm. So, how do we use this information? Well, if you remember from the last video, there are several critical stations within the aircraft. These are the front seats, the back seats, the baggage area or areas, because in some aircraft there are more than one, and fuel tank or tanks. As with baggage area, sometimes there are more than one. To use the formula, we will need the distance from the reference datum, or arms, of these stations. Where can we find this information? There are 3 places. Many times, you can find them in the sample loading table in the Airplane Flying Handbook or Pilot's Operating Handbook. For some aircraft, like the Cessna 172, you can find them in the plan view in Chapter 6 of the POH. Finally, the Type Certification Data Sheet, which you can download free from the FAA, must also have these values. For the Archer, we'll take them from the sample loading table and then double-check them against the Archer Type Certification Data Sheet to make sure they're accurate. Doing so gives us 80.5 inches for the front seats, 118.1 inches for the rear seats, 95 inches for the fuel tanks, and 142.8 inches for the baggage compartment. We'll go ahead and write these values into the appropriate boxes in our weight and balance table. Now let's load the airplane the same way we did for the last video. We'll start by entering the empty aircraft weight, or 1,764.6 pounds, into the weight and balance table. Now let's move to the front seat. My 185 pounds plus friend number one's 130 pounds is a total of 315 pounds. We'll put this value in the front seats box in the table. The other two friends weigh 190 and 145 pounds for a total of 335 pounds. We'll put them in the rear seat. And we'll put 110 pounds into the baggage compartment. Adding these up, we get 1,764.6 plus 315 plus 335 plus 110 equals a zero fuel weight of 2,524.6 pounds. Shoot. Since the maximum ramp weight is 2,558 pounds, that only leaves 33.4 pounds for fuel. Knowing that 110 low-lead aviation fuel weighs 6 pounds per gallon, that means we've only got space for 5.67 gallons. We'll discuss how to estimate fuel usage in a future video, but for now, believe me when I say that 5 gallons won't be nearly enough to get us to Kansas City and leave 30 minutes of reserve. So what can we do to fix that? Where else can we be flexible without compromising safety? How about our luggage? Since we're only going for a single overnight, let's trim our luggage to the bare minimum. If we each cut our luggage to 10 pounds total, perhaps only a change of clothes, toothpaste, and a toothbrush, oh yeah, and deodorant. If we're going to be in an airplane for an hour, we gotta have deodorant. Anyway, once reduced to 10 pounds each, the new total luggage weight becomes 40 pounds. Now, let's recalculate the zero fuel weight. 1,764.6 plus 315 plus 335 plus 40 equals 2,454.6 pounds. Subtracting that from 2,558 leaves us 103.4 pounds for fuel. Like we did in the last video, we'll round pessimistically to 103 pounds. At 6 pounds per gallon for avgas, that's just over 17 gallons and should be enough for the flight plus 30 minutes of reserve. Now adding all the weights up gives us 2,557.6 pounds, and we're just under the maximum ramp weight. Okay, we now know we can stay within the loading weight limits. What about balance? Well, first we'll write down the empty aircraft moment of 158,323.2. Remember, that comes from the formal weight and balance document for our aircraft. For the rest of the load, there are two ways to get the moment. The first is using a loading table. We explored that in the last video, so this time we'll use the weight and the balance formula and multiply the weights we've just put into the table times the station arms we entered earlier to get the moment for each of these locations. 315 times 80.5 equals 25,357.5. Enter that in the front seat moment space. 335 times 118.1 equals 39,563.5. This goes in the rear seat moment space. Finally, 40 times 142.8 equals 5,712. Put this in the baggage 1 area moment space. Now add all the moments to get the zero fuel moment. My handy-dandy calculator shows 228,956.2. If we add the 103 pounds of fuel and multiply that by 95 inches, we get a moment of 9,785. Adding that to the zero fuel moment gives us a total ramp moment of 238,741.2. But now what? How do I use this number to get something that I can use on the graph? Using algebra, we know that we can rearrange weight times arm equals moment to enable us to find the arm if we know the weight and the moment. So 238,741.2 divided by 2,557.6 equals 93.34579293. To make this number easier to use, let's round pessimistically to 93.4. If we plot that on the chart, 93.4 puts the center of gravity right about... crud, it's outside the center of gravity envelope. That means we can't make the flight. But wait, let's try one last thing. Let's see if moving where people sit will help. Since the center of gravity is too far aft, let's move some weight forward and see what that does. I'll have my 190-pound friend and my 130-pound friend switch seats. The total weight won't change because we haven't added or removed anyone. After moving people and redoing the calculations, the front seats are now holding 375 pounds, and the back seat is holding 275 pounds. If I recalculate the moments by multiplying the new weights by the station arms, then add them up, I now have 226,700.2 as the zero fuel moment, and 236,485.2 as the total ramp moment. Dividing the moment by the weight gives us an arm of 92.5, or 0.5 inches inside the aft limit of 93. Just like last time, we'll need to also figure out our takeoff weight and center of gravity. So, subtract the weight of the start, taxi, and run-up fuel from the total ramp weight. Archer provides 8 pounds with a moment of 760 inches in their sample worksheet. Subtracting the weights, we get 2,549.6. Subtracting the moments, we get 235,725.2. Dividing the takeoff moment by the takeoff weight gives us a rounded number of 92.5 for the center of gravity. Plotting this on the chart shows we're well within the weight and balance limits. Finally, let's see if we'll still be within weight and balance when we land. If you remember from the last video, the weight of 11 gallons would be 11 times 6, or 66 pounds. Now let's figure the moment of the fuel. 66 pounds times the arm of 95 inches is 6,270. Subtracting 66 pounds from the takeoff weight gives us 2,483.6 pounds, well within weight limits. Subtracting the fuel moment from the takeoff moment will leave us with a landing moment of 229,455.2. Dividing the landing moment by the landing weight and rounding would leave us a CG of 92.4. Again, still within the center of gravity envelope. And we did it! We now know we can make the trip and stay within weight and balance limits for all phases of flight. So, despite several setbacks, we've been able to find a way to get all 4 of us to Kansas City a second time. Our creativity and awesome weight and balance skills saved our friendships and allowed all of us to enjoy another round of world-famous barbecue. If this video has been helpful, please click the thumbs up button. Also, please share this with 2 people you think might find it useful. If you'd like more practice, please download the files linked below. In addition to examples of all of the documents used for this video, I've included another problem and the answer. If you have any questions or suggestions for future videos, please put them in the comments section below. Next, we'll investigate other calculations necessary for flight planning.